Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Papa Boris here, playing some more Meteorfall Krumit's Tale. Again, I'm not going to do a full run of this, or a full playthrough series of this game. That'll be when it's released, and I'll be doing some New Game Plus stuff, or at least trying to. But I do want to do one run with each of the three characters, soon to be four. Let's go ahead and pick up Greybeard here. Let's just go ahead and play on a regular, normal mode here. So Greybeard is the wizard of this game. His special ability, Arcanist, makes him deal 1 piercing damage to the topmost enemy of the column from which he acquires any ability. It's a stamp that is, yeah, it's not that great usually, and a lot of times you can just do fine and just basically forget that it exists. Of course, if you want to play really well, this does add one more thing to keep track of, to consider, to possibly, like, you know, squeeze out every last bit of value that you can. Now, Greybeard is a good character, and I like him. However, I do think one of the game design misses in this game is Greybeard's theme. He's this old guy with a beard, so you think he's a wizard, but thematically, he's much more of a battle mage, in that, while you obviously can play like a pure spell build with him, for the most part, what you're going to want to be doing with this guy is, you know, using actual armor and weapons to beat things up to complement your spell usage. Now, a bold game design choice in this game is that there is no special mechanic for spells. If you ever played the original game, Meteorfall, spells worked differently from abilities. In this game, they do not. Just like, you know, the warriors cleave and slam and whatnot. The mage's abilities cost gold in the upper right-hand corner, and then they are used just like regular abilities are. I guess they're spells, so they are exhausted more often than other types of abilities, although he does have some persistent abilities, and the warrior and thief both have exhaust abilities too. So it's not that different, except that, you know, there's like a spell theme to it. The wizard also cares a lot more about burning and frost. Taking a look at some of his starting cards, he has a 0-cost armor, wizard robe, which has no armor value, but each time you acquire an ability, the armor value increases by 1, so you can pick it up, and then as you acquire abilities throughout your run, it becomes, you know, an actual good piece of armor. Ice Bolt deals 3 damage and freezes the enemy. Freeze makes the enemy's next attack action do no damage. And Fireball's pretty simple, it just deals 6 damage for 2 gold. What I'm going to do here is try to minimize, like I did with Bruno, how many tiles I use, although it is a little bit more difficult with Greybeard than with Bruno, because he doesn't have something like Chainmail that you can use once to completely counter an ability of an enemy. He doesn't heal from picking up armor the way that the warrior does, so I might have to use up, you know, a tile or 2 in order to be able to actually kill the enemies. So what I'm going to do here is pick up this wizard robe, so that the enemy at the top of the deck falls in here. And I'm going to try to see if I can maybe kill this enemy with my Arcanist ability, although that's going to be tough. This level is actually not a good level for the wizard, because these are the guys that do 3 damage with Blitz right up front. So they take only 2 hits to kill, but they deal damage to you first. So, like the other level 1 enemies, these guys will deal 3 damage to you if you just fight them bare naked, but unlike the other enemies, they deal all that damage up front, which generally makes them a little bit tougher. I mean, on the plus side, these guys only have 4 health, so they are more easily killed by abilities and such. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kill 3 of them, going down to 1 health, and then just kind of see where we're at after that. Now, if this were the skeletons, I could pick up 2 abilities, and then each of my robes could block one of their attacks. As it is, I'd have to get it up to armor 3 in order to be able to fully block an attack and not die. I could pick up a health vial to restore 2 health, and then I could block some of the damage and still live. The problem with that is that then this health vial is taking up a spot in my inventory. So that is the trade-off. I guess what I'm going to do is I'll buy this Ice Bolt. Yeah, the problem is that to kill one of these guys with my Arcanist ability, I'd have to buy 4 abilities, right, to do 4 damage, and that is just not going to work because I don't have space for that. You only have 4 tiles in your inventory, and then you end up having to throw something away. So I think there's probably no way to avoid having to spend at least 1 tile. Therefore, I'll pick up this other wizard robe, and we'll just use some abilities to kill these guys. So I'm going to grab Scorch. What Scorch does is it deals 3 piercing damage to the enemy and gives them burn 1. The way Burn works is kind of like poison. Each time the enemy takes burn damage, they take damage equal to the number of burn stacks, and then the burn value is reduced by 1. The difference is what causes that to trigger. So poison is triggered at the end of a combat round, whereas burn is triggered when the enemy moves down the row. So for example, if I scorch this guy, and then pick up a tile, the guy will move down and burn to death. Although, of course, the guy will actually be killed by my Arcanist ability, so the burn is kind of irrelevant. But any hoodle, we'll do that, and we'll pick this up to kill him. And then, I guess I will pick up a Scorch, so that now these armors can each block one of these guys' attacks. And I guess all in all, there might have been some way that I didn't foresee to optimize this better and not have to use even a single tile. But this way, I only used up 1 tile from my deck to clear the first level, which is decent. When you play on normal mode, it's not that big of a deal. Gems are very plentiful, so it's not a huge deal. Okay, so let's take a look at our items. This snowball is pretty bad. It's actually strictly worse than another item I'm hoping to get later, so I don't want to clog my deck with it. This thing is interesting. So it burns 4 to a target enemy and then 2 to each other enemy in the same row, so you can potentially burn up to 3 enemies. Problem is it costs 3 gold, and I don't know if this is like a bug or something, but this doesn't say that it exhausts. I assume that it exhausts after being used. And then this thing is alright. It burns to all adjacent enemies when you pick it up, but 2 gold for a 3 attack, 2 durability weapon is actually not that great. Still, I think it's better than the other options here, so we're going to grab that one. Okay, so this one's alright if you have a board full of enemies. This thing I think we've talked about. It can be alright. This thing is okay if you get the perk that makes all enemies come on the board with poison. We'll just take Blessed. You heal 1 whenever you pick up an ability. As the wizard, you pick up a fair amount of them, so might as well just grab that. It's pretty straightforward. So with the wizard, your starting cards, the Fireball is the worst, because it costs 2 gold, and the best case scenario is you kill an enemy with it, so you pay 2 gold and only get 1 gold back, which sometimes it's what you gotta do what you gotta do, but the problem is that like it still is only 6 damage, so all you're gonna kill with this is an 8 health enemy. If you deal 6 damage to it, then you attack it with your basic attack, but then you're still falling behind, and if I'm gonna pay 2 gold to kill an enemy, I'd want it to be able to kill any enemy, not just one with 8 health or less. So these are definitely prime targets to replace and improve. And then the Scorch is pretty bad as well. Scorch is way worse than Ice Bolt. Do not ever get rid of your Ice Bolts. These things are ridiculous. There are some 10 health and 14 health enemies that you can just kill with an Ice Bolt and basic attacks and take no damage. It's an insanely good ability, so this you want to keep because of the damage blocking, but the burn from Scorch is rather awful. So the Fireballs and the Scorches we're going to look to improve. Well, let's see what's in the shop.
Welcome.
Okay, so there's some interesting stuff here. The matches are actually alright, because there's some stuff you find as the wizard that like interacts with burning, and so you want to be able to have an easy way to burn people, and it doesn't get much better than getting 3 burns for free. This is interesting, but it's very expensive. And then this is also interesting. So it freezes everyone, and if anyone was already frozen, it deals 4 damage to them. So it's kind of like the Lightning Storm, in that it could deal 4 damage to everybody, but of course only if they're frozen first. Freezing something is kind of like doing some damage to it, because it gives you an extra attack you do before you take damage from the enemy. And it costs 1 less gold. So we'll take the winner wins rather than the Lightning Storm, and we'll take the matches.
Quite the bargain.
And now I'm a card over, so we're going to get rid of a Fireball. Okay, so we'll try this. With 20 gold, I could actually buy something else. But at the moment, it's only this Flask of Rehydration, which I absolutely just despise. So we'll leave everything alone and move on to the next place. Bit of a tough level here because both enemies are sort of like tier 2 enemies. They each have only 6 health, but they have like sort of tough stuff. So it can be a little bit of a tough level here. These guys have stealth, so you can't target them with stuff on the board. And they have this like Blitz Poison 2, followed by some sort of strong attacks, so you end up taking a fair bit of damage with them if you don't have any assistance. And then the Globbers, you can actually kill it without taking any damage with just a single block 2 effect, so it's kind of like a tier 1 enemy in that way, but if you don't have that block 2, this 1 block and the poison can be annoying, and you can't use weapons against them, so that's like a bunch of annoying stuff. What I guess I'm going to try to do is see if I can get this Wizard Robe up to block 2 so I can kill 2 Globbers for free. I don't have any abilities out here at the moment, so that's the tricky part of the situation. Okay, so with the matches, what I could do So I could just use all the matches on this Globber, and then pick up this chest, dropping him down to 3 health, and then take 2 damage and kill him that way. It's an option. I could also pick up the treasure chest, buy this fire starter. The awkward thing about it is that 3 damage plus my base attack of 2 is not actually going to kill these tricksters in 1 hit. So it's a little bit of an annoying start. Notice that a lot more enemies have come out than my good tiles, which is what makes this a little bit tricky. But these are both enemies that cannot be killed very efficiently with just my basic attacks. So it was going to be tough kind of no matter what. Okay, what I think I'll do is just grab these matches. We'll light this Globber on fire. Let's do it twice. Pick up the treasure chest. And then now I'll take 2 damage and deal 2 damage. And we'll call that pretty good. Okay. So now we can get this and freeze everybody, or we can pick up this weapon and burn 2 on this trickster. If I buy an ice bolt first, I can actually burn 2 that trickster as well. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll buy this ice bolt, we'll burn both of those tricksters. And now, the awkward thing is I need to get this guy to drop, but to do that I need to, like, buy this stuff, but I'm out of room for things. So what I could do is I could fight, let's say, this trickster, and use my weapon, so I only take 3 damage from killing him. I attack once after he poisons me, and take 2, and then I attack again and take the 3rd poison damage and kill him. But that last gold lets me buy this Scorch, which would drop this guy down. He would take 2 damage, and then I could kill him in 2 hits. Now, if I actually pick up the Scorch, it's going to damage him with my Arcanist ability. So he'd go to 5. If I burned him with these matches, he'd drop to 2. I would still take 2 poison damage, though, because his thing is a fast thing. And I'd rather not buy the Scorch. It'd be nice if I could buy the Winter Winds, and that would make it a lot easier for me to kill everything off. But I want to buy 1 more ability, so that this has 2 block, and I can kill 2 Globbers with it. Okay. Well, I guess what I'm going to do is just use the other tick of this weapon to kill off the tricksters. So, how do I play this? I can't actually burn the tricksters, right? Because there's their thing. So if I Arcanist this guy, he goes to 5, then I can kill him in 1 hit with the fire starter. The problem is I'm out of space. Okay, so let's, I guess, burn this Globber, even though this might be a total waste. We'll pick up the Ice Bolt because it's better. We're going to whack this guy to death, even though I still take 2 damage thanks to this Poison Dart. And now I got this chainmail, sort of, so we're gonna go ahead and fight this Globber with it. And because its first thing is 2, we have a familiar pattern here where you block the first thing, it parries, can't stuns them, and then you kill him when you're on its 3rd hit. Okay, and I guess I will just use the other tick of this Wizard Robe to do the same thing to the other Globber. I guess then I don't really even need the Winter Winds to finish these guys off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take advantage of my Blessed ability here. We'll pick up the Scorch to pop this thing down to 3. Oh, if I could have bought this Winter Winds, it would have been really great, actually, because then it would have actually dropped this guy down and I could have killed him in 1 hit. Oh, but as it is, I would need 2 hits to kill him, so I would take 3 damage from his Blitzy Poison. Can I actually kill him by just picking up and drinking this health vial once? I really shouldn't obsess that much about just taking an extra tile to finish these guys off. Okay. Let's just do this and take our hard knocks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drink the potion during battle to cancel the poison. Because anytime you heal, you get the full value of the healing, and if you have poison on you, it is negated. And then the Globbers, I forget if I can kill them without dying. So what you want to do against Globbers if you're fighting them is flee during this point. Oh, I don't actually need to flee because it took an extra damage, so this 1 block is basically countered. Okay, so we're going to do that. Ah, yes, perfect. By not fleeing, I can go down to exactly 1 health and kill this thing off and not have to spend an extra tile. Okay, perfect. Alright, so 8 tiles left over. It's decent. And okay, so we got this thing again. This thing is a very popular item. A lot of people talk about it on Steam as a really core item for the wizard. It's a 3 durability, 4 attack weapon, which is a pretty big deal. Costs 5 gold, which is a lot, but it restores your durability whenever you acquire an ability, and since that's the wizard are acquiring lots of abilities, you know, you actually get to keep this thing around for a long time. So it's definitely a good thing, but you do have to get a lot of gold for it. I, however, like the Witch's Broom better. So this is a 2-use thing, and you target an ability. I think it has to be on the grid, not in your inventory, but I can't remember for sure. And it copies that ability twice and shuffles it into the deck. So you buy 1 tile, and then with 2 uses, you add 4 tiles to the dungeon deck. It's actually really good, because not only do you get more abilities that could be useful, but you also add stuff to the deck that reduces the likelihood that the grid will get filled with enemies, and it also lets you, discard that stuff for a gold and 2 health each. These are actually all really good stamps. So this thing, with my matches, I can put burn on something, and it'll just stay burning the whole battle, and then I get +1 attack against it. This thing is just unconditional +1 damage once. This thing is good because adding more stuff to your deck is good, and then this thing is good because it adds your survivability. Now, I've already got the Blessed stamp, so I have some survivability, and this thing is great because having bonus damage is always nice. I'm going to grab Intelligent, though, because you'll now have 3 extra things in your deck, so the board's less likely to get clogged. Even if you're buying junky cards from the shop, just to pad out your deck, it's still good because you can pitch that stuff for a gold and 2 health. As you play on harder difficulties, that Intelligent perk is harder to make use of because it's harder to actually have the gems to buy stuff, but on normal difficulty, it's not as bad. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a frisky move here. I'm going to grab this ruby ring. So what this does is, it has 3 uses. It deals 4 damage to an enemy with each use. And if you kill the enemy with that damage, your base attack goes up by 1. Now the catch is that the enemy has to be burning, which is a bit of a catch. But I have the matches in my deck, so I can actually make use of this. And now I will know that if I can get something that increases my gold, like the Dragon's Gold Flask that lets you transmogrify items into 5 gold each, or if I get like the Jester Stamp, which randomizes the cost of every tile on the board when you discard a tile, this can become an absolute powerhouse. Now, Pyroclasm is one of those things that looks really good because it's a bunch of damage, but you're paying 4 gold to kill an enemy. So this can be okay if you have a way to reduce the cost. So like a really powerful combo is if you get the Amanita Potion, which is a 3-use potion that reduces the cost of an ability by 1. You can reduce this down to 1. And there's a Poet Stamp, which makes it whenever you pick up a 1-cost stamp, 1-cost tile, you get an extra copy of it. So then you get 2 Pyroclasms for 1 gold. That's pretty good. Now I do have some synergy already, or a piece of it with this broom. If I can lower the cost of that Pyroclasm, and then I can copy 2 copies of it into my deck, or even 4 copies with this broom, that's amazing as well. But I don't have that Amanita Potion, and I might not get it. In that case, I don't want to have this crap on the field. So what do I take? Well, this thing is, it's cheap, it adds to your damage, and it restores durability. I guess we'll take it. This thing I'm not a super big fan of, and then this thing, it does have some use, but at the moment it's not that great, and then this thing is sort of conditionally a lot of damage, but it might not be, so we'll just take the cheap stuff, and I'm out of gems, so we'll try to, do a good job acquiring more gems so we can actually fill out our newly enhanced deck size. Okay, it's time for our first boss level. Discarding tiles no longer heals, but you get an extra gold from enemies when you defeat them. So it's a little bit of a tricky one. You can definitely, get into a bad place by not being able to heal yourself. Luckily, I do have a way to heal, so I'm pretty well positioned to deal with this particular boss. Okay, so we got our combo here of the ruby ring with the matches, which would be nice to pull off. Getting 6 gold is a little bit easier than usual here because every enemy on this level grants an additional gold, so that's actually going to be a pretty good thing to go for. Now the question is, do I try to build up this wizard robe first? I think the answer is no. I can kill this peasant, that peasant, and this guy go down to 1 health, and then I can buy the ruby ring. So let's do that. I'll take 3 damage for killing a peasant. The peasant is what I call a level 1 enemy. Level 1 enemies are the ones that you can take 3 damage to kill with your bare naked self. And it would be nice if I could actually leave this guy on the board, because this ruby ring will actually kill him. and give me that +1 attack. The problem is that the next enemy is a level 2 enemy, so I'm not going to be able to kill it with just my bare naked self. I'll have to spend some gold to be able to kill it off. Okay, but the next thing is a chest, so it's actually probably worth it to investigate the possibility of using an ability to kill this barbarian. So what you want to do here is, gosh, these blocks are tricky. So if I pick up this ice bolt, it's going to damage him for 1, he's going to go into 7. Then if I shoot him with the ice bolt, he goes down to 4, so I need 2 attacks to kill him. So I think the way to do it is attack first, let him put his armor on, then freeze him and flee, and then come back and kill him when the armor wears off. So I think this works. So we ice bolt, my Arcanist shoots him for 1, then I attack him while he's got this block action, down to 5, he armors up, I ice bolt him to do 3 damage, and to freeze and cancel that 5 damage down to 0, I flee, he hits me for 0 damage, the block goes away after the combat resets, and then I can kill him before he attacks me again. So the 1 extra damage from my Arcanist stamp was actually relevant there. Okay, so the question is, do I actually want to use this chest? And the answer is, sure, it's fine. I mean, it is using up a tile, but whatever. So now we pick up the matches, and we pick up this ruby ring, and we're going to go to town here. So first of all, we're going to burn this thing, and then ruby ring it to death. Remember, the enemy does have to be burning to be able to use the ruby ring on it. And then, this is fine. I will attack the peasant. Oh yeah, my base attack went up, right. So I can just take 1 damage to kill these things normally. That's fine. I will still just do this. So we'll whack it, take 1 damage, burn it, and then kill it with the ring to get the +1 bonus to my base attack. And then we're going to go ahead and just burn that and kill it. So now we have a base attack of 5. Pretty good. We're out of enemies to kill here, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is pick up this robe and start collecting abilities, I guess. This thing, let's see, my attack is 5. I can hit it for 7. Okay, we'll pick up this thing. We will buy this just for the sake of doing 1 damage to this guy. And then I can one-shot him with my icicle dagger. Florp. Okay, what are your attacks? 3, 3, block 3. That's not super crazy. Okay. So I think I'll pick up this broom. The nice thing about this broom is you can just use it without having to worry about, like, you know, maximizing or minimizing your tile usage, because it creates more tiles, so you can just go to town with it. And I'm going to just keep it simple. We're just going to put in a bunch of icicles, because those are always great to have. And should I take 3 damage to kill this gobloid? Well, it might be better for me to wait until this thing goes up a little bit higher. Ironically, it might be easier for me to kill this thing after I kill the boss rather than before. So yeah, let's buy an icicle, and let's use it. Let's buy another icicle to be used during combat. That brings my armor up to 3. And now let's see what happens when we fight this guy. So first he's frozen, and I'll whack him for 7. And then now, yeah, we'll just whack him for 7 again. See what happens. A block move is very weak because you can always just run away from a block. Actually, I almost kill him because 3 + 8 is 11, and I almost kill him. But we'll just reset his block. And so now what I can do is I can actually take this 3 damage and just whack him to death. Nothing fancy. Now this guy does have a blitz attack, but I have a 3 block armor here. So I can exactly block this damage and whack him to death. Okay, we got a lot of gems that time. That was a good time. So the advantage of the map with the boss granting an extra gold for killing an enemy, combined with enemies that I could kill with my bare naked self, was actually very effective there. Okay, so zap, I don't really understand how this is supposed to work. It seems like you have to get a lot of zaps for this to be good. It just seems terrible. This thing is fine. This thing is very interesting, although the problem is that a lot of abilities that cost 2 or less aren't actually that great. Like there's zaps and there's like that wind thing. So you oftentimes you're just kind of hoping for icicles and not getting anything all that great. So what I'm actually going to do is take the item rather than the 3 random abilities, because just too often when I've gotten this, all the ability choices I've gotten from it were just not very effective.
Hurry up now.
Okay, so lots of interesting options here. The martial artist is one of my favorite stamps in the game, just generally. The issue is that I do have some weapons that I like using, but I think it's still worth it just to get this, even though it makes the weapons worse. So we're gonna grab that, not think too much about it.
You're winning.
Ha! 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 So we have another matches and ruby ring combo. I don't think my deck can support 2 ruby rings. So if I buy this, what I'm basically saying is that I want to double my odds of finding it, but I'm never really going to use 2 of them. And then I can have extra matches, though you don't really need the extra matches because I'm only planning on ever using one of these rings. Then again, it doubles my odds of finding matches so I can use them. So that's an interesting idea. This thing I've tried, and it just doesn't seem that great, even though it seems like it'd be cool. This thing is survivability, but it takes up a spot in your inventory. So even though I'm going to be burning things, I'm going to just, you know, rely on the fact that the bless is helping me out. And the intelligent, I can pitch these extra tiles for health. And then this increases my attack, so I kill things faster. So I think I have enough survivability that I don't want to take up gold and a spot in my inventory for it. This is just a really crappy pack of stuff. Well, because it is crappy, I guess I'll just double up on my ruby ring matches combo. And I could just buy this to take up space in my inventory. Sure. We'll just plan on selling that most of the time. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so these guys I would call a tier 2 enemy. Maybe if Globbers with their 6 health are tier 2, these guys I guess could be tier 3. But the nice thing about them is that they have armor, so you can kill them with your abilities somewhat easily. The issue is, can I kill it with my bare naked self? Let's see. I would need 3 hits to kill him, so I would take 8 damage. Well, that's not good. This would be a lot better if I had the snowflake stamp, which was nerfed in a patch. It seems that now, like, if I had the snowflake stamp, which makes you freeze the enemy after it damages you, previously only the first 2 damage would connect, and the second 2 would be frozen, as well as the 4 from the next attack. But now I would take 4, and only this would be canceled. Still, if I had the snowflake stamp, I would do that, because it would give me a free kill for only 4 damage. However, without that, I'm taking 8 damage is a bit much. So, yeah. Well, we can pick up this wizard robe.
What a find.
Okay, so it's another one of those guys. Looks like I'm gonna have to pitch something for gold to be able to make any progress here. I guess we'll pitch a fireball because they're pretty terrible. So we're gonna get rid of that. And shoot. So I could buy this. Keep in mind, it only really... This is not actually... Okay, this does not do anything anymore, because when you have the martial artist stamp, you need to subtract 2 from the printed value of the icicles, because you lose the bonus from the martial artist, and you take an additional -1 penalty for relic weapon. So this thing... Oh, this is what I gotta pitch, right? This doesn't do anything anymore. I'm gonna have to delete it from my deck at some point if I can. Alright, we got matches. I don't have the ruby ring, or nearly enough gold to use it, but that is there. Okay, I think I want... Oh, right, I forgot. I'm so foolish. I can kill Globbers in 2 hits. Oh, I totally forgot that. The Globbers is a huge difference, whether you have 3 attack or 2, because with 3 attack, you don't ever have to deal with that 1 block poison thing that they do. So that is actually very, very effective. Okay, but these guys with their 8 health, I need a little bit of assistance. So what I could do is I could actually buy the Ice Bolt and the Scorch and kill it in 2 hits. But I think actually a better plan... Let me take a quick look here. So imagine if this thing were frozen. I would hit 3, take 0. Hit for 3, take 4, hit for 3, kill it. Right. So if it were frozen... There we go. What I need to do is just buy this Ice Bolt.
Sweet relief.
And freeze one. I guess I could just shoot it and kill it. But what if I bought another Ice Bolt and parried? Ah, that's the right move. So I'm just buying this Ice Bolt to bring my armor value up to 2. And then I'm going to parry this first attack. Yeah, I'm going to call this a tier 2 enemy. The fact that you can parry it with just 2 armor is pretty good. That dramatically reduces its effectiveness. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is actually kill the Globber and take 2 damage. The reason for that is that I got matches, And now we're starting to roll a little bit. If one of my ruby rings would just come up, I could myrtlate these guys very easily. Unfortunately, the ruby rings are not obliging me. Okay, I don't want to use the Witch's Broom yet, because A, I don't want to copy Scorches, because they're terrible. I should have actually not picked up both Ice Bolts, because now I can't copy the Ice Bolts. Whoops! But B, I don't want to put stuff into the deck that isn't the ruby rings. I actually would love to find the ruby ring right now. Okay, no dice. What I'm going to do here is use up the last tick of my armor to block essentially 8 damage. I'm blocking 8 damage because I block those 2 and I parry that 4. Which is sort of a big deal. I'm willing to lose an item for it. Especially now that I have this Witch's Broom, I don't mind spending tiles because I get, you know, essentially like sort of 3 tiles back. Take this tile, but I generate 4 with it. Okay, no dice on the ruby ring. Okay, we're just gonna buy this thing. Still no ruby ring. Ugh. Alrighty, well, I could draft a random item from this lockbox. Alright, let's get frisky, see what this ends up being. I was hoping it'd be a ruby ring. We have a weapon that deals 4 bonus damage if they're frozen. That's not super helpful. We got a healing potion. You know what? I don't need more matches. Let's take a healing potion. There's a ruby ring. Ha-ha! Okay. Well, if I could pick this up, it would actually burn both those guys. But no, there's no need to dick around. What I'm going to do, I think, is a bit of a frisky move. I'm going to just... I'm never going to use this. I'm just never going to use these, right? Am I ever going to use Winter Winds? But am I ever going to use this fire? No, I'm not going to. So I'm just going to sell this. Oh, I need to actually get 2 more gold to buy the ring because I bought that stupid lockbox. Okay. So we're going to sell this. And I'm also going to sell off the Winter Winds. Then I'm going to light these bitches on fire, buy the ring, and just kill them all. That was a bit of a bug there. Alright, good deal. Good deal. So we got a base attack of 5 now. If I could use my Arcanist on this Globber, I'd actually one-shot it. I guess we'll do that with the Scorch. So we can one-shot this. That saves 2 wait, 6. Oh, right! I forgot I had the Marshal perk! So I do one-shot this Globber. Ha ha ha! Loser. Alright, that's pretty good. Wow, actually, I'm kind of close to getting the other ruby ring. Alright, these guys, they have a weird thing. They block first, then they hit you really, really hard. So, what I could do... Yeah, alright, fine. I'm just going to whack it for 6. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flee. Well, actually, there's no point, is there? Because 6 plus 6 is 12. Yeah, there's no point in fleeing. So I'm just going to do this. We're going to punch through its armor twice, killing it. Now, I did take 6 damage, but luckily I got 6 health from my pirate strongbox. Now we can one-shot that. And we can one-shot this. Actually, I made a little bit of carelessness. I almost left myself with no abilities to copy with the broom, but now we're gonna Witch's Broom, copy the one thing that is left for more gems. And can I actually copy these? No, I cannot copy those in my hand. So it has to be those. Okay. And I guess I could burn this. It doesn't actually have... Oh, it does increase my attack by 1, which... Does it make a difference? Well, there's no harm in finding out, so let's do that. If I do this, does that make a difference? It does not make any difference. Okay, that's fine. So I'm not going to waste this. I don't want to use the gem. But we can take the 6 damage and kill this thing. Alright, folks. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Please like and or subscribe if you did. What we'll do now is collect our rewards for this round and pick things up in the next video. Okay. Well, this is an interesting choice. The Meditate is one of those things that's either really amazing or just really terrible. The thing is, you're spending 2 gold to reduce the cost by 1, so there has to be at least 3 abilities on the board for this to even be useful, and it has to be abilities you're all going to buy. It's usually pretty bad, but if you can get the Poet Stamp and reduce the cost of a 2-cost ability to 1, then duplicate it like that, then it starts to be good. Like, I do have a bit of synergy. If you reduce the cost of something and then Witch's Broom it, it does keep the cost savings. However, I'm just going to take this chest because it's 3 gold, and I do have those 2 ruby rings, so some gold would be nice. Okay, this thing is very sketchy. I don't want to do this in a deck that already wants to pay a lot of gold. This thing, I just don't understand when you'd ever take it. The Giant Slayer is really good insurance against boss fights, because sometimes killing bosses can be tough. And this is just generally pretty good. If we assume I can find a way to burn a boss, which is fair because I have 2 matches in my deck, this will give me +1 attack versus bosses, and then also +1 attack other times. So I'm going to take the Elementalist, although I'm not excited about any of those choices. Let's take a look at the shop. Okay, we got the Pyroclasm. We talked about that before. This thing is interesting, but it is a weapon. Because of my Martial Stamp, it starts with an attack as 0. It's too hard to get it working. And this is interesting as well. A lot of my stuff, like, costs 1, like the 2 Ice Bolts and the Scorches. The Winter Winds would be nice to reduce the cost to 2, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm not really, like, using super expensive abilities. At the moment, this is basically Chainmail. On the other hand, basically Chainmail is not bad.
Well,
This is interesting. It fills your inventory with random spells that cost 1 or less. The problem with it is, on top of it being random and expensive, that you have to get 4 gold, which takes a while, and by the time you get 4 gold, you're probably going to have a mostly full inventory, so I don't like that thing too much. But I do like Teleport. It's really great. It's free, it heals you for 4, and it reshuffles the board, so if you have like a terrible board, that can be a way out of dodge, and it's like a good insurance against losing to bad luck. Now, I could get the Pyroclasm as just like an insurance policy against bosses, and in case like I do find stuff later on that synergizes with it, it would be nice to have. Fine. It's a bit of a flyer. But I have stuff I still want to delete. I want to get rid of Fireball because it's terrible. Wait, no. The worst thing in my deck, hold up, is this Ice Dagger, because it does nothing. Literally nothing. So we're going to get rid of that. I still have to get rid of 1 more card. And is the Fireball worse than this Firestarter Staff? I have to imagine it's not worse than that. Yeah, this thing is bad. It adds 1 to my damage, and it burns enemies adjacent to it, which may or may not ever be useful. So we're gonna get rid of these staves actually before I get rid of the fireballs or the scorches, because at least those do something. They heal me thanks to my pickup an ability heal for 1 stamp, and they trigger my starting Arcanist stamp, and sometimes you just do damage with it, which is more than can be said for this weapon. So we'll get rid of that next. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.